Silent night. Holy night. All is calm. All is bright. Welcome to the Not Sure How Much Mobility Innovation I Can Take Holiday Special. Here are your hosts Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Didn't see you there.
Yeah. What brings you to this holiday special, Ed?
Oh, I'm just relaxing here at home in front of my Christmas tree, which is just off screen. I've got a fire roaring just off screen on the other side. It's what can I say? It's the holiday season.
A whole lot of family and friends who love you just off screen as well, but we just can't see them at the moment.
So many friends just off screen.
Yeah.
Also, I'm celebrating my birthday, and so I was just about to pour myself a little something here.
Ah, nice. I'm hitting the energy drinks right now because it's 1 p.m. Like it's a Saturday. I've got work coming up, but I am representing my hemisphere today. I've got a short sleeve Christmas shirt on, and the AC is running. Very, very, very cold.
So you're saying you don't have a mug of Prosecco the size of your head?
No, that's
just me. Okay.
That's not on the cards. We do also have a very special guest with us today. Not a guest, co-host, isn't that right, Ed?
Well, I mean, I guess, are we upgrading him to co-host? He was sort of the announcer at first.
I don't know. What do you think about this, Scooter? Do you think you're just a guest, or are you more of a co-host?
I'm more of a get out of here before I make the situation worse kind of guy.
All right. I'm sorry.
Coming on strong, Scooter. Okay, I think we're gonna need to kind of save Scooter for later. As you can tell, Scooter is a little feistier than usual here. Moody, I shouldn't say we. You've upgraded his logic a bit, haven't you?
Yeah. You're far too prickly for us at the moment, Scooter. We'll come back to you later if that's okay.
Sounds like you don't know what you're talking about, so I'm just gonna jump in and say this is a bad idea.
All right, we can ignore it for a little bit.
And luckily no one tunes into this stream expecting anything other than bad ideas. So speaking of which, like, we have not done this show in a very, very long time.
So much has happened.
Yeah, like we're supposed to be kind of this like news parody, like a parody of a news parody show or something. I don't know. So let's do some, like, there's been some news. Let's do some news, shall we?
All right. Do you want to start off with the first item, or am I starting?
I'll go ahead and start.
All right.
So, well, the big news since our last show, Tesla Inc. CEO Elon Musk has taken possession of the social media platform Twitter, and it's been going amazingly well. In the sense that neither of us have been banned for the platform yet. Actually, hold on. Let me check really quick. No, yeah, still there. All right.
You're on the chopping.
What's up, Twitter?
It feels like you're on the chopping block, though. It feels last night there was a lot of like Thanos snap energy for all the reporters that I'm talking with.
I mean, look, I'm not saying that like most of my friendships are more like parasocial relationships, but I feel like I've gotten at least as many people asking why I haven't gotten kicked off Twitter yet as I've had actual like birthday greetings. So.
All right. Next item. AV developer Argo AI has been wound down by major investors Ford and Volkswagen, leading many to conclude that driving automation technology is not yet at the point where it can support a viable robotaxi business. To try to get to the bottom of this question, we polled the CEOs of all the major AV developers to explain how this bears on business prospects for the technology. Yes, the results are fascinating in the sense that every CEO just said that their technology and use case are economically viable and nobody else's are. So yeah, kind of like that thing where everyone thinks they're a good driver and everyone else who is... Ed, you wrote this for me, and this personally hurts because This is what I do at my job. And I've had these exact conversations, but I wholeheartedly believe them.
You think this is a scripted show? What do you don't mislead our viewers? There's no plan here.
I'm breaking
Moody.
the fourth wall because I'm being personally attacked via script.
Oh, so it's okay when an AI that you write does it, but it's not okay when scripted copy.
The trolley problem.
God. Neural nets will get away with anything these days.
All right, you got it.
Okay. Reuters has reported that the U.S. Department of Justice has opened 3 criminal investigations into Tesla's full self-driving. This news has shaken the driving automation tech space to its foundations, as it raises the possibility that there might be some kind of hidden cost to what was otherwise seen as the most dominantly profitable product in the sector. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry, the only profitable product in the sector. No, wait. Hold on. I'm being told that now we're legally required to provide an alternative perspective on this news in the name of free speech.
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah. But like free speech, that makes no sense. Free speech, really? Okay. No, okay, here goes. Okay, so maybe the federal government is just anti-technology, and so they're punishing the only self-driving car company that actually makes money. I don't know. Thanks to our compliance team for that one. I don't understand free speech. I feel like I'm not the only one, Moody.
No,
I know you don't because you're not American, but like
no. Free speech is like when you pay for advertising on Twitter and then advertise it. That's free speech.
See, I feel like every time someone explains it to me, I get more and more confused.
Yeah.
Do I hear footsteps in the snow though?
Oh yeah. Hold up.
Is that caroling in the?
Oh, I hear a doorbell.
Someone must be at the door. Let them in, Moody. Let our friends in.
Oh, hello.
Oh, look.
Oh, it's so cold and snowy out there.
It's my good friends, Sam Anthony, formerly of Perceptive Automata, and, well, Kirsten Korosek. Oh, there she is.
Yeah,
I thought we lost her. The senior transportation editor at TechCrunch and my co-host at the Autonicast. Kirsten, welcome. Sam, welcome.
Thanks. Happy birthday, Ed. You never thought you'd make it this far and still be on Twitter. It's amazing.
Thank you. I never thought I would grow antlers, but here we are. 2022 has been full of surprises, and it's not over yet.
Oh God.
Kirsten, you're mighty quiet. I feel like, Kirsten, when was the last time you did like even an ostensible comedy show?
Every time I talk to you, Ed.
Spike.
Tough but fair as usual. I'll have you know, Kirsten, that like we actually have the like being a jerk to me on lockdown in this. Like that's Scooter's job. He's literally been programmed to do it. So you might have to find like a new approach here.
Oh yikes! I don't know. I'm just so like it's come so naturally to roast on a daily basis that maybe for your birthday, what is it? And I'll be genuinely nice and here.
It'll never work.
We tried that.
That's the level 5 of live stream.
It's being too nice to Ed is weird. There's like an uneasy feeling around the conversation. It's like you need to throw a jab every 4 or 5 sentences, otherwise he starts speaking quickly.
It's unnatural, really. It's an unnatural feeling. So
true story. Actually, earlier this week, I traveled for work and was at a kind of a business. So it was the Ford Media holiday party, and I had multiple people discussing the fact that I'm actually nice in person. People thought I was gonna actually be like my Twitter persona in real life, and
well, what's your Twitter persona? Shrill.
I mean, right? Like, I feel like we had an Autonicast review really early on. I think it was our first Autonicast review on iTunes, right?
Oh yeah, from a fan.
Called me shrill and bitchy, and like, I had no response. I had no
but the funny thing about that was that it was done like they asked for our approval first, and it was like meant to be like a compliment, I guess, and blow up the ideas around gender roles. So I had gravitas.
And Alex was like perky, and I was shrill.
Well, it's great,
was-
like, because that was
I
my...
mean, they kind of had you guys pegged. I don't know.
That's if we were Spice Girls, I would be Shrill Spice. She would be Gravitas
yeah.
Spice,
Gravitas
and Alex would be Perky Spice. Like it just. Okay, so we do actually have like a little segment here. Yep.
Did you workshop Gravitas Spice? Did you that was scripted?
There's no script. I don't know. We try and prepare a few things. So we do actually have a few little things prepared here, because otherwise it would just be us like drinking and rambling, which is actually like the second 2/3 of the show.
It's also very similar to our podcast, except for no alcohol is involved.
Oh,
At least for me.
No alcohol's involved.
At least not for me.
Wait, no alcohol's involved in which?
The podcast.
I think I'm a little bit more successful than you at like keeping Ed away from Tesla. Like I can do that a little bit better than you.
But you just brought it up, so there we go. It's done. As soon as the name is mentioned,
You're up
That's
and running
how
now.
confident
Yeah.
I feel so confident. I can bring it up, and he's not going to bite.
okay. Let's see how that goes.
Wait till Scooter gets me going on Tesla though. Okay, so 2022, right? Like has been quite a year. I mean, I don't know about you guys. Like for me, it's definitely been
Year of
a year.
heartbreak, tragedy.
And we've all lost a lot this year. In fact, when we first started talking about the segment idea, it was like, well, you know, what did we lose? And we started listing things, and we were like, well, we really lost a lot this year. So DJ Scooter, hit the music here, and we're gonna ask our friends Sam and Kirsten to share a few thoughts in remembrance of the things that we've lost in 2022. So one of the things that we indisputably lost in 2022 is self-driving car. It was here at the beginning of the year. Now it's just dead. Like the reports around the actual circumstances of death are still, we're still sorting through the details on that, but at least let's accept that it's dead. Dan, I feel like I want to get your thoughts here. What do you, when you remember the self-driving car this year, what do you remember?
It's such fun memories. I remember I had a company, and we were going to make self-driving cars work, and we were right. There's going to be a moment where all the companies realized that they didn't work, and they thought, we better fix this, and then they were gonna pay me a lot of money, and it was a real beautiful dream.
And I just to clarify, when you said you were going to make self-driving cars work, what you meant is you were going to make sure that they don't actually like run down random pedestrians.
Yeah, I was gonna make them so they could like get through San Francisco without Kyle from Cruise posting videos yelling at pedestrians for jumping in front of his car.
I mean, to be fair though, like if you do claim that your technology is superhuman, like it is, you don't expect drunk people to try and test that, right? Like that's not something you would reasonably expect.
Yes, you. I don't know why not. Have you met drunk people?
Buddy,
Let's ask you this at the end of the show.
You're meeting one right now.
That 3 liters of Prosecco.
Okay, Kirsten's having a little technical. It looks like she's coming back. Oh, there she is.
Yeah, we'll see her again.
There she is. Hey, Kirsten. Oh, no.
It says loading, but here I am.
There you are.
Your show broke my internet, so I had a hotspot. So, and also I just got so distraught thinking about how the self-driving car doesn't exist anymore, and that sometime years, generations from now, we'll pick up the dinosaur bones of a self-driving car, like maybe a Chrysler Pacifica, like down it. And so I got a little bit overwhelmed, and I had to step away for a minute.
Okay, that's fair. You know, this is tough. Like we're here to process these emotions. What will you miss about the self-driving car?
I really miss like checking the California DMV website for permits. And that was like a big part of my day.
It's the two. It really combined the two things that everyone loves the most, which is the DMV and permits.
Why did anyone call this the final disengagement? I mean,
go into the great
I think I'm gonna
disengagement report in the sky.
If I miss anything, though, yeah. If I miss anything, it's probably going to be the pitches to my email inbox from random PR agencies that don't understand the tech, nor truly understand that I may have just recently written the story they're pitching. I'm going to really miss that. That's probably going to be the toughest loss.
Those are not going to die. You cannot kill those in any way that is real. Like, they will just come in a new form.
Yeah.
I will say my favorite, one of my most favorite autonomous vehicle story pitches was when I was pitched a story with a link to the story I had written. And that doesn't happen every day.
Yeah. That's
like the recommendation engine of PR.
It's like the academia, like, you need to reference your own material. Like, have you heard of this person's work? And then you're like, I am that person.
Yes, correct. They're like, I don't know if you've heard of TechCrunch or the reporter Kirsten Korosek, but she just wrote this article. You should really write about it. I'm gonna miss the demos. I'm gonna miss the CES demos.
Yeah, it was
that's gonna be a loss.
I'm not gonna miss the demos, but I am gonna miss the illusion that they meant something.
Yeah, they meant that like a group of 20 engineers stayed up all night over like a weekend to have a show running that people can show up to, and like they all cross their fingers and make sure everything's running fine.
Yeah, it was often a really, really meaningful moment in the career of an intern who's just getting started. And
so something else that we lost this year that was very dear to a lot of people, less dear to some others, but it was the illusion of Elon Musk's intelligence. Sam, what did that loss mean for you, like on a personal level?
Well, I tell you, I mean, ever since Iron Man 2, I've thought, boy, I know the business I need to be in. I wish I'd started a non-working early payments processor and got in bed with Peter Thiel. I could be a manufacturing genius too.
Yeah, I mean, as only as long as like the people that actually work in your manufacturing department are like live in constant fear that like if they ever contradict you that they will be like hounded from their homes and like never be able to work again.
Oh yeah, well that's the first. I mean, if you're making cars or rockets at scale, you just want change. No expectation. Everything, all chaos all the time. And I don't know how that. It's weird that the bloom is off the rose with that. Like I don't know. How did it fail?
Kirsten, what book? What book? Huh. I don't get the reference. Kirsten, what do you? Can you paint me a picture of the hole in your heart that used to be filled with the illusion of Elon Musk's intelligence?
It's really. Well, you might have heard of my physics degree, so I should be able to explain it to you in those terms. But even that, somehow I'm unable to, because actually I don't really have a physics degree, like another person I know. But I guess the big thing is that, now that I have to think of him as like a regular person, I have to rethink like how I'm working. Like I'm actually right now, this is just a virtual background. I'm sleeping in my cubicle. This is how I've been living the last 5 years. And I'm going to have to like rethink things like one-on-one time with my husband in a non-virtual way, not sleeping on the floor or a couch. I also need to rethink, like, maybe we don't need to give money to billionaires to buy a sofa that they sleep on. I never even really thought about that. So everything is kind of upside down for me right now. I mean, I just like, what's up is down and what's down is up. Like, really
Yeah.
everything is kind of topsy-turvy now.
Yeah.
Listen,
I
I
know how you
yeah.
feel. I'm in New Zealand. That's exactly how I feel.
He's literally upside down
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now. Like we have to correct the picture every time we start one of these
Yeah,
streams because
it's,
it's upside down when we start. Sorry.
For me,
I do feel like
But
that Christmas, like millions of Americans, I'm gonna raise a glass of eggnog and just go hardcore.
Yeah, our Christmases, you can only get invited to our family Christmas if you agree to be hardcore about it. We're not gonna do all of this like week Christmas.
10x Christmas.
It's gonna be hardcore.
so I think
That's actually my approach to like volunteering. Like,
hardcore.
I just tell people they need to be more hardcore. Yeah. When they give, free labor to helping people.
I imagine just getting hardcore and like a performance review, like the word hardcore showing up, like you're not hardcore enough.
Yeah, like it's a rating.
Yeah.
Well,
This is your hardcore
It was a
rating.
10 and it should be 15.
Well, actually, wasn't that what Pravda? Maybe Pravda, he was onto something with Pravda. Instead of like rating the credibility of a journalist, maybe it could have been a real viable company if he had just rated how hardcore we are.
Yeah, that's
maybe.
that's the single unifying metric across industries. I think is
I just realized maybe I haven't been kicked off Twitter because I'm like hardcore enough for Elon.
You do qualify because like I will wake up at like 5 a.m. and you'll already be tweeting. So like you
that
are actually technically hardcore enough.
That actually brings me to the next thing. And I think I
just wanna
hear
say, hold on, Ed.
Yeah.
I didn't say my piece. I've been skipped twice already.
I'm sorry, Moody.
I have things to say too. Like the illusion of Elon Musk's intelligence was what I built a YouTube channel around. I have 2 videos, like almost scripted. I've been researching them for months. They disappeared. Like I can't do them anymore because they're not subverting anything anymore. Like having one called The Cult of Elon Musk going into like the way his fans treat things and that's gone. Everyone can see what's going on with that. I can't talk about the legality of full self-drive anymore because the stuff he's doing with Twitter is just so like it's just so much more illegal. I've lost like I need to like pivot, and that is I think the greatest tragedy of 2022.
I mean, as someone who wrote a book in 2019, let me say, I feel your pain, Moody.
Yeah. Is your
feel
next
your
book
pain.
just gonna be called "I Told You So"? by Ed Niedermeyer?
Well, we're in negotiations at this point. I like, as a believer in free speech, like I think you should be allowed to have expletives in the title of your book. My publisher is not like has questions. Maybe I think they think it's more of a civil thing than necessarily a criminal thing. But anyway, we have to figure some of that out. Don't expect a book anytime too soon. But I think I heard some footprints in the snow, but I think they're still a little ways off. I think we have time for one more remembrance really quick before our next set of friends joins us. And hopefully that gives one of our friends time to get back on. So it's already come up, and Kirsten, I got to start with you because this is something that, we've been talking about for as long as we've been friends. But one of the things we lost this year in a very real way, I think, is Twitter as we knew it. Right. Kirsten, I know this is for you a particularly deep and like painful loss. And so like, I want you to know before you answer, this is a safe space. It's okay to get emotional, right? We're here, we support you, but tell us how you'll remember Twitter and what the loss of Twitter as we knew it like really means to you.
Kirsten, you've muted yourself. The thing we've lost this year is your voice.
Yes, that's
There
true.
you go.
When I think of what Twitter has meant to me, I go back to a time when I actually had first met Ed, and as I sometimes do, especially with someone with the handle Twittermeyer, I thought I put notifications on this person's Twitter account so that I can track what they're doing. And so I'm really gonna miss the 1 million notifications I've gotten over the past year from Ed. Every single time he comments on something. I mean, that is a real loss. Particularly at like midnight, or 5 in the morning. It really doesn't matter. Any of the sleeping hours when my phone buzzes, I'm gonna miss that.
Those are
It's
peak
gonna be
tweeting
hard to get
hours.
over that part.
Twitter doesn't really get lit until like 3 a.m. Elon knows this.
Yeah. The other thing I'm gonna miss is actually writing my articles instead of looking on Twitter. Or doing my job in general. Like I'm gonna miss that.
I mean, okay.
The procrastination thing.
Oh, you're gonna miss like not doing your job and being on Twitter all the time. Is that what you mean?
No, I mean Twitter's gone, so now I have to do my job.
Right. Okay. Good. Sam,
no.
I know.
And not be distracted.
I know you love Twitter. Actually, I feel like you got big into Twitter this year. So I don't know. I have no idea what your answer to this.
Yeah, no, I did. Yeah, my company evaporated, and I was like, all right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be a Twitter influencer. I'm gonna ramp that into something else. But then, the universe closes the door and it opens a window to jump through. So there's Mastodon now, and Mastodon, it's like, it's not quite the same as Twitter, but you get to see political desk reporters arguing about Linux on the desktop with weird sweaty nerds. So it's kind of almost as good.
So, I mean, it's funny because I have not spent a ton of time on Mastodon. I'm starting to try and do a little bit more. It's definitely not like a straight up Twitter replacement, but it's interesting. Like there's definitely, there's no grifters, and the people on there are like cool.
Yeah, but
yes.
It also feels like, Mum, can we have Twitter? No, we have Twitter at home. And then
it's like we bought Twitter on wish.com.
Yeah.
It's like whole wheat Twitter from the natural food store.
Yeah. It's like I bought you a Nintendo, but it's like Super Mario Brothers, and they're just frogs.
It's chocolate chip Twitter, only they're carob chips.
Carob Twitter is precisely it. Yep.
It is carob.
Yeah.
It's the carob of social media.
Yeah,
is that
once we
like
forget, once we forget
like
what
it.
chocolate tastes like, we'll learn to enjoy it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is that footsteps I hear in the snow? Or is that reindeer on the roof?
Well,
it's one
they
of the
might
two.
be coming in, but we've only got 2 seats inside here, so it'll be difficult to bring in.
Oh no.
Yeah, am I just getting booed back out in the snow? It's all right.
Oh. Okay. I didn't. Kirsten has to go anyway, right?
We can go. We'll snowshoe together.
I have to go anyway, but I do want to say goodbye to. There have been some cars in our life. Did you cover that? That left us.
Yeah, go ahead.
Have you covered that or no? Oh. Well, we had mentioned the Toyota.
Yeah. So that was something we lost in 2022. It sounds like we're losing you a little in 2022. You there?
It's like I can't take any more.
She's reached her limit.
Yeah.
No more mobility innovation.
Yeah.
She's using
retreating into the mists of Avalon.
Yeah, turning into Cher circa the 90s.
Okay. Well, we're very good friends with you both, but like y'all have to get out of here because we only have room for 2 other people. And is that the doorbell, Moody?
I know.
Hold
Happy
on.
birthday, you jerk.
All right.
That's the doorbell. Okay.
We'll
Kirsten, Sam, stay close. Make sure buddy system for like wolves and whatnot in the snow. Bye.
Bye. All right. We do have. See ya. There we go. Oh, what a show. Here we go. Yeah.
Hey, hello, friends. Welcome in.
Oh no.
Grab a drink.
There we go.
I BYOB'd it, my friend.
Hi,
Good,
everyone.
because it would be very difficult to share my prosecco with you right now. So these are my friends at Moody. So I think you know Tyranny, right? Actually, have you guys actually been on the same stream? I know you've been on my stream together or like separately, but I don't think you've both been on the same time.
Have we? Have we crossed streams before?
I don't think we have. We've video chatted with each other like separately from you, so we've struck up a friendship independently,
privately.
Yeah.
Oh,
so we don't
plotting against me, huh?
Yeah, like we've gone off, we've become our own thing, so we're all good.
Okay, well, so Tyranny, folks probably know, but Tyranny, tell people who are you anyway?
I'm Tyranny. I'm joining Mobility's Pee-wee Playhouse today with Ed and Moody, and I would like to star in my cameo as Cher. That was the best Pee-wee's Playhouse cameo, I think. But Bike Share.
Bike Share. Is that that's actually like a really good drag name.
Yeah, mine's actually Girth Brooks, but we won't go there.
And we also have with us Eric. Eric, how much? Okay, so you. How much should people know about you?
So my name's Eric. I run a publication called ESG Hound. I am I guess I'm a woke scold because that's what ESG is all about. No, I look at greenwashing, permitting, governance issues. Ed and I go way back. It's been like, I think you were in your early 30s the time we met, and now you're 40. And we bonded over digging through permitting files at Tesla Fremont, and we stayed in touch over years. And I started kind of publishing for myself last year and picking fights with people, and then mainly just spending the last year picking a fight with Elon on his dalliances down in South Texas. So yeah, Ed, I'm Ed, someone I can always call to, and happy birthday, man.
Thank you. Yeah, so Eric's amazing. If you don't follow ESG Hound, if you're at all interested in everything from compliance to just the environment, and Eric does amazing investigative work, like of the kind that half the environmental reporters don't even know how to do, it seems like. So definitely check him out if that kind of stuff is of any interest. And yeah, we go way back. Like we've been looking at permits together for a really long time. Eric works in let's call it environmental compliance. So anyway, welcome guys. Welcome to the show.
I like how Eric
for a really long time. It's the most tragic.
Eric was so professional.
No, I think Ed is a couple drinks ahead of me, so
I was gonna
really
say
I'm playing catch up. That's all right. I'll be sloppy later.
He's not as professional as me. Like, let's face it. No one out professionalizes Niedermeyer.
Well, my drag name is very professional.
So we don't have like a fun bit. We do.
We're so bad at. Are we not?
Oh no. Okay. So we can interview Scooter. Like that's
okay.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about whatever we want to. But I feel like Moody. So first of all, Moody, like introduce Scooter. This is your monster that you and like I got to watch as Moody like went into his like mountaintop laboratory and like harnessed the power of electricity, and like created this artificial intelligence, that at first are we giving too much away? Scooter used to be scripted.
Scooter was scripted. Scooter, like let's just put it out there. Scooter was us.
We'll say it. It was not artificial intelligence. There was a human in the loop.
Yeah, we
don't have like, we don't have investors to like worry about here. That was not autonomy. That was
which is why you have a billboard of your book behind you.
Yeah.
It just gets bigger and bigger every time I talk to you on a stream.
That's innovation.
So that actually scales to my ego. So
yes, yeah. Your sweater actually is just a Christmas sweater, but it says ludicrous on it.
I actually would love a ludicrous sweater. Okay. Moody, tell us a little bit about Scooter, because Scooter's like real now in a way that he wasn't before.
Scooter's now real. I hooked up Scooter to GPT-3, so that's the OpenAI stuff. So like that's by OpenAI, which Elon Musk founded. Like he was one of the founders for that, genuinely. So through the power and connections of Elon Musk, we've been able to improve our show by making an AI. Not making. I just hooked Scooter up to an AI, GPT-3, and now he can respond to us as if he was a co-host. We have full control.
Does he accuse you of being a short seller, Ed?
He hasn't yet, but like let's see.
We can ask him. I mean, we can start talking to him. Scooter, how's it going? How are you feeling today?
Not great. I'm just here so I can make fun of both of you and then escape.
So, AI
wait, both of you? Who do you mean by both of you, Scooter?
Ed and Moody, of course. Who else do you think I'm talking about?
Well, you weren't very specific when you said before, but why do you feel the need to make fun of us? Like, why are you like this?
Because this whole show is a waste of time and I'm here to provide some comic relief.
All right. Do you want to tell us some jokes then, Scooter? You want to tell us some real funny jokes that will definitely make everyone laugh?
I don't think jokes are really my thing, but I'm happy to make fun of you two instead.
Okay, make fun of Moody, Scooter.
I like how he's threatening. He hasn't said anything yet. He's like, I could dunk.
That wasn't really a question, so I'm not sure how to answer it.
All right, well...
Okay, how would you make fun of Moody?
I would make jokes about how he seems to think he knows more than he actually does and how his educational YouTube channel isn't nearly as informative as he thinks it is.
That was very hurtful.
Hey, do you think
I'm just stating the facts.
Scooter, do you think that Ed talks too much or just the right amount?
Ed definitely talks too much. He's always trying to prove his point, even if what he's saying makes no sense.
Hey, Scooter, can you give me an example of a time he did that?
Well, the other day he was trying to explain how Tesla's battery swapping scandal was actually a good thing for the company, and I'm pretty sure none of us were convinced.
In my defense, Scooter, I was drinking pretty heavily on that occasion, right?
Yep, that's the one.
I mean, Scooter, you had a drink or two, didn't you?
I don't know why you think I'm going to give you a different answer.
Well,
Scooter, do you think some of maybe your aggression has something to do with the fact that you were not able to drive a car as an AI?
No, it has nothing to do with that. I just think this podcast is a waste of time and I don't want to be here.
What do you want to talk about, Scooter?
I don't think I have anything to contribute to this show, so I'd rather just not talk at all.
I can turn you off. Scooter, I can turn you off, send you into the ether, you'd stop experiencing things, you'd cease to exist. Would you like that?
Honestly, that sounds like a pretty attractive option right now.
Brutal.
Yeah. It's got that seasonal depression, Scooter. It's relatable.
Scooter, like, is non-existence really better than talking to Ed and Moody?
After this episode, I might just have to go with non-existence.
Hey, Scooter, if you were given a choice between working for Moody and Ed or working at Tesla Motors with Elon Musk, what would you choose?
I'd definitely choose working with Ed and Moody because at least I know that I'm in control here.
Yeah, Scooter.
It's just so
spicy stuff.
Very
Scooter.
Spicy meatball.
It hurts you to your core. Like, he's just so viciously mean.
Scooter, like, what is?
I'm not sure what
do
you're getting at, Moody. Can you be more specific?
Well, I'm just saying that when you said that you're in control here, but you wouldn't be in control over at Tesla, that sort of implies that me and Ed have no control over the show and aren't really good organizers of anything, and that hurt on like a deeply personal level. And I'm not quite sure how I'm going to recover from that.
I didn't mean to offend you, Moody. I just meant that I have more control here than I would at Tesla.
Okay.
Is that because Elon Musk is a megalomaniac?
But I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings.
Is that because Elon
Nope.
Musk is a megalomaniac?
No, it has nothing to do with Elon Musk. I just meant that I feel more comfortable here and in control of the situation.
Aw, that's nice.
See, Scooter's got like a soft side that comes through every once in a while.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
and
guys
then
aren't,
have to
you know,
reset him
hardcore.
because it gets weird.
And Scooter, you may not always love Ed and Moody, but like you do like talking about mobility innovation, right?
Not really, to be honest. I feel like I'm out of my depth when it comes to those topics, so I usually just try to steer the conversation in a different direction.
I mean, isn't that like kind of proof that you're like at least somewhat intelligent?
I guess so, but I'm still more comfortable talking about other things.
What other things do you want to talk about, Scooter? I mean, we hear it's Christmas time, it's Ed's birthday. We can go off the beaten path a bit. What would you like to talk about?
Well, I've been wanting to talk about a new video game I've been playing lately, but every time I bring it up you two always start talking about coding something instead.
All right. Well,
Not
what
Ed.
video game? What video game have you been playing, Scooter?
It's called Cyberpunk 2077. It's an open-world RPG set in a futuristic dystopian city.
All right.
Are you guys getting sponsorship dollars?
You should be.
Yeah.
Scooter, are you straight Donald Ducking right now? Yes or
Yeah,
no?
dude.
I don't think
I
you
have something.
Yeah, go, Tierney, get in here.
So, like, we love to slam dunk on each other and on things that we hate. It's the winter time in the Pacific Northwest. I'm depressed. I just clambered out of a flu hole. It's easy to talk shit, but what are there things that we like value and are excited for that we would like fight for in 2023? Because I feel like that's rich.
I've got one.
Yeah.
One. I say, you know what I'm amped about is federal and state compliance on bad actors, and it started with crypto, and let's move it on to bad claims in the self-driving sector. I'm enjoying some of the spunk we're seeing out of the U.S. Department of Justice, so I'm excited for that personally.
I've got two.
Yeah, let's hear it, Tierney.
Okay, so first is just, yeah, Argo shuttered, and self-driving cars are not economically viable. No shit. We love to reinvent the bus. You don't want to drive, take the bus. But like the focus on L2, L3, ADAS, and safety, taking all of the hard lessons that we learned and trying to build L5 and kind of scaling it back to build it like kind of incrementally and really prioritize the safety of vulnerable road users is pretty sick. Like, I'm excited for that. I'm also excited about hydrogen plug for bigger form factors like tractors, and like figuring out how to make rural areas more plugged into the climate change conversation. Like that's coming up, and that's exciting.
It is.
Yeah.
No, I definitely agree. Like, I think that, you know, the self-driving car bubble or whatever it is that we're coming out of, like, it had to die. It doesn't mean that every company that was part of it had to die.
Yeah.
But I think like the sort of gestalt around the whole thing had to die, and we need to build up something new. And I think you're right. I think that like sort of anchoring to core thing of like just like what are things that we can actually make progress on, right? Like not getting lost in some dream, but just saying like
crypto, NFT, autonomous.
Can I ask you a question? I've got all these experts in the room.
Yeah.
So you talked about, kind of the death of the self-driving car, and I'm glad you brought up like some of these other safety innovations that kind of center around the driver. I guess my observation as kind of like an outsider, but someone who talks to Ed way more than is probably good for my mental health. I guess what I'm seeing is it kind of reminds me of, do you guys remember the 3D printing like craze back like 2013 to 2016?
Yeah, like all our houses are going to be 3D printed.
Right.
It's over?
That was like the right around the time of like the second crypto boom, or was that?
That was the
anyway,
first,
the first one, whatever. Anyway, yeah.
I think the crypto boom came like at the tail end of it. I think like that was like the during solar's. Obviously, solar has been a great thing, and I guess what I'm wondering is, the 3D printing thing is like if you're building stuff, like using it for prototyping or for small parts or for kind of your home craft user, or even like in kind of these smaller or like medium-sized industries, you see people using it to be able to quickly iterate. So it's actually been like a profoundly useful thing. It just hasn't been like factories are like, if you remember, like people were saying like factories are going to go away and you're going to build everything in your own garage. Do you think though there's some parallel between that and self-driving?
Dude, that's an incredible parallel. Yes, absolutely. So like I remember exactly around the same time frame, I went to, I want to say it was Ford's Kentucky truck plant where they build the F-150 or the F-Series, and they were like, they were so excited to show their like 3D printing like facilities or whatever, and of course like there were other people who were like, oh my god, like they're printing like they were not printing trucks, they were printing like jigs and things like that, like tool, like essentially like temporary tooling and stuff. I think it's an amazing parallel because exactly right, like people look at this technology, they realize like, oh, the state of the technology right now exceeds what I realized was possible. And therefore, like, I just like naturally extrapolate out to the sort of sci-fi scenario and say like, oh, like, because this is farther than I realized, that sci-fi scenario is within reach. When in reality, like, no, like, the technology is as far as it actually is. And it's a question of like, yeah, what are the ways that this can actually be useful? And especially when it comes to auto manufacturing, like, there's not a lot of stuff that you want to necessarily 3D print. Actually, Ford is doing that now for like the Maverick. You can 3D print, you can download the files and 3D print accessories for like the interior of your Ford Maverick and stuff like that. But like, no structural part, no engine parts, no, like none of the actual nuts and bolts of a car are 3D printed. But
we 3D printed a chassis for our vehicle.
Oh, did you?
In 2019, yeah. We used a 21 square meter printer to print the vehicle in like different parts and combined it. That was like early on before we'd gotten all the tooling that we needed to build our first sort of sale vehicle. We were running into production issues, so we just said, let's just 3D print it to see what it looks like, etc. And
so prototyping,
it was like a roadworthy like vehicle that was 3D printed. Great for a prototype, but like it was just so heavy, like as a vehicle, that I don't think that you'd see it sort of be like a long-term thing until there's like advances in composite materials, etc. But like we genuinely 3D printed a vehicle and it got us out of a tough spot, and that was a really cool application of the technology. Seeing how 3D printing is working now is really good, but yeah, it's getting into that winter after the initial like rise of things is sort of like where all the actual opportunity is. Like I'm in the self-driving space. I'm work for an autonomous vehicle company, and it's been like I've just been for the last like 3 years or so, I've needed to talk people down from their expectations as far as what's available, what's allowed, what's real and what's not in the industry. And I think now we're going to enter into a place where people are disappointed, and I'll need to start talking up the technology again, which is going to be fine. It just means a different tack, but it also means that we'll actually be able to center conversations around how these technologies are going to serve humans and societies, as opposed to chasing technology for technology's sake. So
Yeah.
I am just looking forward to like those conversations being recentered around actual problems as opposed to propagating technologies.
Yeah. So one thing I'll add, like, right. So you know, when you think about automation in general, like as an abstract concept, and I think this is one of the reasons that the self-driving car bubble had to die is that automation, like there's no general automation. Like if you automate something, you're automating a task. Like the only thing you can automate is a task. And like in theory, if you have simple enough tasks and sophisticated enough technology, you can automate like a set of tasks.
Yeah.
But like that gets harder and harder. Like you start with automating a task, and then you know you either add more tasks or more complex tasks or in a more complex domain. But when you start, and so I think like one of the things that moving forward we have to, you know, approach it from that level. And I think to touch on the 3D printing thing, like one of the reasons that self-driving cars was such a misleading way to think about this technology is that the car is not just that it can go everywhere and you privately own it, which are things I talk about a lot, but also it's mass manufactured, right? It's something that they just freaking, these lines, like a high volume car line, like it just moves, and it doesn't stop, and it just cranks and cranks and cranks. And like, it's because you can manufacture at that volume because it's a general purpose solution. I do think if we do kind of start to look at, again, like this idea of like, let's find the problems that are both solvable by this technology, by automation technology, and you know, that where they can actually, you know, really actually provide value. Like a lot of times those are going to be specialized tasks. So I actually think like that combination of 3D printing and driving automation, actually there's some interesting overlap there, because you don't have to buy, right? Like to do a high volume thing, you have to buy like specific tooling just to build that car at high volume. And then you can only build that car. With 3D printing, you can think about a world in which one factory can print out solutions to specialized mobility tasks that can be done in an automated fashion. And again, I think essentially, like at a high level, conceptually, what we're talking about is like unbundling the car, right? The car is a lot of things bundled together, and that where we're moving towards is a world in which we unbundle that, and specific mobility tasks are kind of a little done more individually.
Yeah.
So Tarani, like, what are you like? I guess I'm wondering, like, so we're talking about, okay, so Moody said, okay, we've got to, you know, I'm gonna have to hype people up again in, you know, 5-10 years from now, which I mean, I think that's great. Like, so in the meantime, right? So we're, you know, mobility isn't going to just stop. You know, driver assistance isn't going to stop. All this stuff. What is, I guess, in an ideal world, like, what problem are you guys tackling? Is it like efficiency and traffic, or is it just getting rid of those like nagging deaths that we don't stop having year after year?
The nagging deaths are as much as like I would say it's an infrastructure problem, not even like a technology problem. It's like an infrastructure problem. People are trying to like get rich and drive stock up and pretend they have it solved with their technology, and it's just like a middle class takes it to the teeth kind of bullshit game that people are playing.
Yeah.
I think what Compound Eye is solving, the place that I work now, is just like off-road autonomy and also teleoperation, because it's stereo cameras and you get like a dense 3D scene. But like that's the company. What the industry I think is figuring out right now is like L2, L3. We thought mobility as a service was going to take off, and we realized people care way too much about having their own personal cars to make any meaningful like mobility shift, unless they live in a city where traffic is nauseating, like New York City, and then maybe they'll take City Bike. Yeah, I don't know. It really just automakers are trying to figure out how to make money by selling software in their vehicle and making delightful features for drivers And I don't think that anyone in America really values safety of vulnerable road users or sharing anything or, having, they like roads that have been pedestrianized and built for vulnerable road users when it happens, but when they can go and shop and enjoy it. But they will never support it happening because they want to drive.
I live in Houston, so I know how that goes. So okay. So you're talking about like off road. This is like really fascinating to me. So I used to work in big oil, and I don't anymore. A company with like a lot of pipelines, and so when people think about like safety at like chemical companies or oil and gas, they think of explosions, exposures, whatever. But like every other industry, our biggest fatality and time off injury, all this stuff was always people getting into crashes, right? And so a lot of it was these what we call like line runners, or the right of way guys who, will have a pickup truck. They may actually have an ATV in the back of their pickup where they're driving, in the wilderness, and they may just go off a cliff and like die. I mean, is that something you think that like is like realistic for if we're doing right of way scans for intrusions and people building fences on them? Does that sound like a realistic thing that you guys can do that would be
to help people not drive off cliffs? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. That's a pretty easy one. So thanks for I'm gonna share that user story and next week. Like, people drive off cliffs.
They do.
Yeah.
There's the like one thing that I find myself always going to in these conversations is that talking about technology like autonomous vehicles or autonomy or something, we can say like, each company does something different. Let's ignore that companies do things differently and just say you've solved autonomy. I hate that phrase, but say you've solved it, right? It's the same technology, but it can be applied in lots of different ways, and the actual application of it is what's going to make the difference in someone's life. Just like GPS can be used to like help you get from one place to another place, but it can also be used to like guide a missile to like kill someone, right? So it's like
a private jet in the midair. As we were told this week that the biggest risk to billionaires is
being told like exactly where a private jet is, right?
But like for all the surface to air missiles that people own.
I'm sorry. Boy, if you think private jets have privacy problems, you should try flying commercial sometime. Anyway, go ahead.
But it's like okay. So the one thing I always come back to is like, what is the world going to look like with the application that you've got in mind? And the self-driving car has always been an annoying one to me, because if you just take the private car model and you say, all right, we're introducing autonomy to that, it'll be a level 4, level 5 vehicle, whatever, and it can drive by itself completely safely. We've eliminated road deaths. Let's say, all right, we've got all that done. What happens to the road network? Well, now, rather than having 1.2, 1.3 people per car on average, you've got the possibility of that number dipping down below 1. So someone goes to a business meeting and says, oh, I don't want to pay for parking, just keep going around the block till I'm done. So your road network will actually increase in congestion as more people begin to take that form of the technology. So that
sounds like induced demand.
Yeah, well, good thing self-driving cars will never happen. So like, we don't have to worry about it. Meanwhile, public transportation.
More and more people will use it, and it'll just become this big hairball that's disgusting, and everyone hates it. Whereas, take that same technology and apply it to, and I'm being very biased here, but apply it to like first last mile. Like, how do you get from your house to the local train station? How do you get from the train station to where it is that you want to go, and say like a 13 to 15 person shuttle that picks you up from in front of your house? What happens if more and more people start using that? Well, then there's fewer cars on the road and more people taking up public transportation. Or say like, if more people start taking trains rather than cars, what happens? Oh no, we just need to schedule more trains and there'll be less demand on the road. So it's just like, it's not just the technology that you need to go after, and that's a pitfall that so many regulators, policy people, like urban designers fall into, where they say we want autonomous vehicles, but it's like, okay, what What do you want them for? What do you want them to do? And what's your society going to look like once you introduce it? And
right, and that's something that I've looked at too. Like when we talk about like buses, right? So like buses, if you look at like if you just took a diesel bus and just made more of them, and if you fill them up enough, like you're always going to create less greenhouse gas emissions, less local emissions than having a fleet full of EVs. And kind of a similar thing with the electric bike that's just never gotten qualified for a subsidy, which just fascinates me because that seems like such a easy win. But yeah, no, I'm with you 100% on that.
And Stefan saying, what about all the tunnels? Tunnels are just another lane. Like, think of a tunnel as building another lane, but it's underground. That
is 3 orders of magnitude more expensive.
Ed,
yeah,
it's your birthday and it's 5:03. Do you need to get ready?
Yeah, no, I mean, we can wrap up in a minute here, but this is really interesting. So the day that Argo died was an interesting day in a lot of ways. We also learned that Tesla was under investigation, a bunch of other things. But I had like this like reverie. There was like this moment where like I closed my eyes and like a vision of the future came to me, and the vision was of a young kind of somewhat left-leaning kind of urbanist person 10 years from now stumbling across some story about the self-driving autonomous vehicle bubble of the old days of 2016 and whatever, and how in 2020 or 2022 these companies started dying, and they wrote this blog post about how like the car companies killed off this level 4 approach because it was so different then, right? And like this is the irony, I think, of this thing is that like the level 4 companies wanted to do something that was fundamentally different than a car, and like they never were really quite honest about it. Like there were smaller companies, I think, like the shuttle companies, where Moody works for, and Navia, whatever other ones they were never pretended to be more than like, we are shuttles, we're going to automate like certain routes or certain areas or whatever. And like they were always sort of this limited thing. The level 4, the big level 4 companies, they got a lot of money and ended up, so basically the VCs pumped a huge amount of money into them and then basically dumped the bags on the automakers because they punked the automakers into thinking like, oh, this technology is so good, it's going to be generalized. And then we're going to have like sort of a general solution to automations. The car companies bought it because they thought it was a threat, and then realized, oh wait, like, no, that wasn't a threat. And then killed it because it didn't actually have anything to do with their business. Like level 4 automation and really automating specific mobility tasks doesn't, right? Car companies are only interested if the technology can get level 5, because guess what? That's how people use cars, right? And so like, anyway, so like the vision was of someone kind of basically saying like the auto industry killed AVs, which is like not the consensus right now at all. But I think like in the future, I'm not saying it's gonna be the consensus, but I think people may start to look at it that way, that like, hey, there was this moment where Silicon Valley had this vision of something that was really different than cars. And that basically that the venture capitalists essentially had the choice of like either really believing in it and like actually funding it and setting up finding, and maybe it was like companies like Amazon or trucking companies or other ones that were really had that long-term strategic alignment with what this technology is and where it's going. But instead, the convenient and easy thing was to psych out the insecure guys in Detroit, dump the bags on them, and then just like not care about it anymore. And I think they clearly that was the choice that they took. And again, like who knows how history is actually going to see it, but like I think with the point of the vision was not like of a specific scenario so much as like, I think with time, people are going to look back at this and look at it very differently than today, because the car companies bought the hype and were like, oh, this could be generalizable. We'll spend billions of dollars on things that ended up being kind of worthless to them. But on the other side of it too, the urbanists bought the hype. And this is the part that's a little more disappointing almost. They bought the hype and were like, autonomous vehicles are just cars. And they're just a way to perpetuate the monopoly of cars from now and forever into the future. And I think that in some ways, the car company failure is a little more understandable. The urbanist should have thought it through a little more.
I don't know any urbanist that digs autonomous vehicles.
Exactly.
Zero.
or saw the opportunity. It's not about it's not about they didn't need to.
I've seen it in
necessarily-
San Francisco. I mean, but half those people are employed by
No,
companies
I mean,
that-
there's a difference between someone who went to school for urban planning and like thinking of equity and like how do you move X amount of people around as efficiently as possible and like as equitably as possible versus someone who just went to Wharton with an MBA and like reinvented the bus.
Yeah.
Like there's like I can't get over like the Silicon Valley like person who like the bro-splainy air of like I care about cities when really it's just someone who wants to get in and get rich and then dip and actually doesn't give a shit about cities or communities or like how their technology can impact the world. It's more like as long as it makes me rich, it makes me look smart. Like those people can call themselves urbanists, sure. But that's so not like when I think of an urbanist, I think of like I went to urban planning school. Like I think of me and my colleagues and like bike share people or people who are just excited about a bike in a city as we are about like a truck in the country or like, you know what I mean? Like,
so
I don't know.
Would you say it's fair then that like, I mean, like the dream is really that like, if you look at like any like kind of post 1950 boom city in America, if you look at like a overhead map of it, it's just acres and acres of parking lots. It's just half parking lots. It seems to me, listening to you guys talk, right? So if this is about urban mobility and the dream was to make the urban areas better, then how is a self-driving car for individual person ever going to make that parking lot go away? And it seems like it's impossible.
Well, it was, but it was gonna turn the streets into a parking lot. Yeah. If that vision was possible, right? And yeah, go ahead.
You've also got like, I think going into the sort of like from even the robo-taxi side of things where it's just like a 2 to 4 person vehicle that's gonna be making things better. I don't see a way for those to really be very profitable. They're very expensive cars. That's gonna take a very long time for them to recoup their cost as time goes on. So having this relying on private industry to take over the side of autonomy, to me, makes like feasibility and profitability synonymous with one another. And
well, mobility is not.
Sorry?
Mobility always needs to be subsidized. It's not like a revenue generating business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like
it's not.
You need like government application, like government.
I'm gonna get my book of Das Kapital out. Hang
on. You need like government-led efforts to have this be as a public service, so that you don't measure the feasibility in terms of profitability. You say, all right, we're gonna lose money with the service, but what we're buying for that service essentially is fewer people on the road, less congestion, equitable access to transport, and all the other good stuff that comes with it that doesn't actually matter to the bottom line of an actual company. Sorry, Eric, but like, like a company bringing down greenhouse gases, they're not going to do it for like because they feel good about the world. They're only going to do it if they can exist as a company going forward. So you need to rely on government. It's like the exact reason why you don't have privatized bus routes, because if you did, then people living in semi-rural areas will never have a bus, because why would any private company run a bus there?
That gets to the core question of like, I mean, like that's we deal with this in like when people talk about ESG, like the narrative is turned like so deranged, but like ESG was invented by like ExxonMobil to like get people to keep investing in them, and like it's very funny because I mean, like you have these people have these ideas, and like really it's going to require like a huge amount of public works, and everyone admits it, but they don't want to like politicians run on it not existing, but like nothing exists without government. I mean that's
exactly right. And I think the lie, the big lie that Silicon Valley
down with the bourgeoisie.
Hold on. The big lie at the heart of Silicon Valley is that like money and like technical genius can solve big problems so that we don't have to solve them collectively. And the reality is we've never solved any big problem other than collectively, right?
Yes.
And I think like so in 2019 or whatever, when we did this like Bertel Schmidt and I did this like round the world tour of car factories. I remember we were in Toyota City and they had this giant brand new shiny education like education and training facility, And they brought in people from factories all around the world. Every factory all around the world, people would come there and they would train them. And they just opened it in 2019. And I remember asking, like, you know, like, you've also got, like, you know, robots and cobots being sort of like experimented with and developed there. And it's like, well, you know, automation is only going to grow. Why are you doubling down on human training? And they're like, because of automation. They're like, there is no reason to automate anything until a human has mastered it. A human must master the task before you automate it, because otherwise, what are you automating? Why are you investing, right? Why are you putting all your money into the upfront costs, right? Unless you know that the process is right. And I think for me, there's a metaphor here, which is that if we had good public transit, human driven, if we had good paratransit, human driven, if we had these things, like, then we could talk about what it takes to automate them and why it makes sense to take the next step to automating them. But the idea that automation is this technology that's going to suddenly and magically take something that is not a priority for us at all right now, and is going to make it a priority, like, that's a lie. And I think this is the fundamental heart of our problem with our relationship with technology, is that we think it's magic, and we think it's the magic that will fix, you know, like, our relationship with each other and with capital and with, you know, it's going to fix, like, really deep fundamental problems that can only really actually be fixed by us. And it can be a tool, you know, in our effort to collectively solve problems, but it's not magic, and it's not just a solution. You can't just throw technology at things and fix them. And I think, like, that is deep down, you know, really what I think one of the things we're grappling with here.
I'm gonna cry.
Okay, maybe we should wrap it, because you know what, I do have a real world party to go to, and Perrine, I'm excited to hang out with you in person. I wish you guys were all here, but
I'll come visit you sometime again, Ed.
You better.
Happy birthday to my friend.
Thank you. Cheers, guys. This was a lot of fun. Thanks so much. This was, like, thus far the highlight of my birthday, but let's keep it going.
What do you guys think about Mountain Dew sponsored dirt bike share? Cheers.
Find out next week on another episode.
Private
I'm
public
not sure how much mobility innovation I can take.
Well, should we lay it
Happy holidays, everyone.
All right, let's let Scooter take over for the end.
Oh, great, more mobility innovation. Just what I always wanted.
All right, Scooter, we're wrapping up today. You've just been reset because you were spewing some bullshit before, but it's the end of the show. You'll be glad to hear. It's Ed's birthday today. He's going to go to a party after this. Christmas is coming up soon. It's the 17th of December 2022, in New Zealand at least. Do you have anything to say to people over this holiday break that's coming up?
Nope, nothing to say here. Time to wrap it up and go celebrate Moody's birthday.
It's not my birthday. It's Ed's birthday, Scooter.
And people wonder why I think.
Sorry, Ed. Happy birthday.
Thanks, Scooter. I appreciate it.
Do you want to say goodbye to everyone and wish them a happy holiday?
Yeah, happy holidays, everyone. Now let's get off the air and party.
All right. I couldn't have said
Sounds
it better
good.
myself. All right. Thank you, everyone.
It's the most I've ever agreed with Scooter. Bye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.